Hi everybody, welcome to my second ever blog. Let's roll the intro. I was approached a couple weeks ago to be the technical director and operator sound mixer for a project called Escal. This is a self-sufficient van setup that mainly focus on original materials, so no cover band here. This is really focusing on French-Canadian artists for them to present their own work. And I think it will be fun. I mean, it looks like a fun project. I'm gonna discover a lot of new artists that I didn't know. I'm also working with some friend, like my friend Vince, that you will see later in the video. But first, let me show you guys the van, the inside of the van, and the gear that we bring to do those shows. The truck smells brand new. So here in the back of the truck, this is the dressing room for the artist. We have a really cool bench, a little counter here, a mirror, the power control for the batteries for the solar panel on top of it, a little microwave if you want to warm something, your lunch, whatever. In the front there we have two custom made risers of about 12 inches, 30 centimeter for my friend in Europe. Those are closer to meter, it's like 1 by 2 meter, but for North America this is not standard. Usually the stage here are 8 feet by 4 feet, but for this truck that would not fit in there. So those are like 6.5, so close to 2 meter by 4 feet, so a little more than 1 meter. After that, in the truck here we have XLR cable, small basket with everything, DI, microphone. I have two Sennheiser with me. I have the brand new 935. I got two of those. I also have stereo and mono DI just for make life easier on stereo sources and mono sources. Also a couple mic stand behind the risers. Small monitor. Those are the GBL 510. So we got two of those. One on top here, one in the middle here. In the bottom here we have the bigger one, the GBL 625 I think, or 610. I only saw them once, sorry. This is a X32 rack. We have a in-ear from Sennheiser G4 and a Furman on top just to make everything easier to plug in. Got my USB key in hand. We're just gonna plug that in. And for those of you who never did a firmware update, just go to setup. We're gonna press here, firmware update. Select 4.6. Yes. I love those new color. I like the darker interface a lot. Console is up to date. We're ready to hit the road. Because apparently I'm a professional, I've programmed my show before going out. I just bring out my USB key, load it into the console, and half of the job is already done. You know, all the naming and activate the EQ and compressor, all that is done. Let me show you what I did yesterday. I'm lucky enough that I know what my instruments are, what my DI are, and what my microphone are. So it can give me one step ahead and help me to get my show going faster and my sound check going faster. I can set up my console layout, and I can also set up some EQ and gain. The guitar player is a friend of mine. I've been gigging with him for the last 6 or 7 year, 8 year. With COVID, I don't really remember anymore. I know which acoustic guitar is gonna bring, I know which DI is gonna bring, and I know how it's gonna react in an X32 because I've done 100 of show with that guy. So let's move on to my screen. I'm lucky enough to have a input list. Not that anything is really complicated here, but if I have a patch list, I can get my stuff ready. The first input that we have here, vocal. I like to have my lead vocal in white. Next to that, we have acoustic, AKS. Vego is the lead singer tomorrow. Input 3 will be vocal Vince. I'm used to have my friend Vince in red on everything. Acoustic Vince, electric guitar. He's probably gonna bring a HX dump. My input 6 will be a electronic kick. I like to have my drum in green, so I'm just gonna call that kick. I know it's going to be a DI, it's not going to be a bass drum microphone. Let's move on to our channel. We don't need phantom power. Maybe we're going to use some nice compressor from the X32, but we're not going to set that for now. I know I have SM58 here on the list or a 935. I'm going to preset my gain here to around 24. Maybe the gain structure won't be good, but at least it's gonna work. We will be able to talk to each other. An acoustic, I know that I have some JDI radial DIs, so I know they need a lot of gain. We're gonna start that around 30. Vince vocal will be 935 because he doesn't bring his mic, so that will be it. His acoustic will be another JDI, so gain to 30. His electric guitar might be a stump. That's going to be gained to 30 again because another JDI. And the kick will be, you guessed it, plus 30 because that will be another JDI. So it's a gig of DI, basically. Now let's go back to channel 1 and set our stuff. I'm not going to use a noise gate per se, but we're going to set up an expander. I like to have expander on my vocal. I do not recommend you to have them on everything all the time. When I'm running with monitor, I love to have expander. And I know tomorrow that we're going to have monitor because we're going to have the small JBL 510. So I'm going to set the threshold really low. I'm going to set the range just somewhere around 20 dB because that will be enough. Expander 2:1, attack. Yeah, maybe the release time is a little on the long side and I can bring down. Let's start with that. I'm keeping the threshold really low because my gain structure is not done yet. So once I got that set, I will be able to set my threshold again. The purpose of having an expander on the vocal is when you don't speak, it's just shut the mic. But I can put the release maybe a little higher here. Because I'm having a slow release and a really fast attack, as soon as you're gonna speak in the mic, it's gonna open that expander and it's gonna slowly, with a curve, shut it down. It's gonna reduce the bleeding, it's gonna reduce the overall stage volume. We're outside, but still, it's gonna help me bring the ambient noise down just a little bit. And it's gonna make my mix a little bit more cleaner. And we like clean mix, so. Good acoustic guitar. I would also put an expander on there. But I will go only something like 6 dB. I don't want the musician to feel it at all. So threshold really low again, minus 60. Same deal here with the old and release. Vince vocal, that would be minus 45. I'm gonna leave it to 60 because he's only doing back vocal on that. I want to have him really out when he's not singing, and I want his mic to just open when he's singing and being out. So expander 2:1 again. Hold for around 100 and 250 again. Is acoustics, I'm gonna put just a little bit of expander on it just to keep it a little more quieter when he's not playing, but honestly I don't really need it. I know he has a really good Gibson J45. It's just to keep it down in the monitor, and yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Maybe I will turn it off tomorrow. I will see. But again, we're gonna change or attack or old and release. Electric guitar, I will do nothing on that from the gate. His HX dump will have a gate in the preset, so I don't need to do anything there. Kick, because this is a sampler, again, I don't do anything there. It will be a really clean bass drum coming from a trigger, so from a small pad trigger, so no background noise here, no possibility of feedback, and putting an expander on it just not gonna do anything. Okay, let's move on to the dynamic lead vocal. I'm gonna skip this one because I'm gonna use an effect plugin on there for that. For the acoustic guitar, we're gonna use the channel strip compressor. I'm gonna set that to minus 18, 3:1 ratio, mixed to 100%. I like to have the knee on 5 on an acoustic guitar, gain there, and I'm just gonna leave everything else as is for now. We're gonna see tomorrow how it sounds. Because I will have to use a dual slot for that, I'm not gonna touch anything on Vince's vocal in the channel strip for compression. His acoustic, again, we're gonna go minus 18, 3:1, just leave everything at that. Knee to 5. Electric guitar, that won't be compressed unless he's doing a lot of clean stuff, and if he doesn't have a compressor on his preset, maybe I'm gonna put one there, but it will just be a matter of lowering the threshold. Kick, on this one we're gonna do minus 21. I'm gonna try to have the gain at minus 18 and getting around 3 dB of compression at a 3:1 ratio. This is how I like my bass drum. Result may vary. Maybe that's not gonna work, but tomorrow, because we have a sampler, it should be the same thing all the time. 3 dB of compression, not more, not less, all the time with that. Okay, let's move on to EQ. I don't know what my microphone will be tomorrow on my lead vocal. It could be a 58, it could be a 935. I know for sure that I want to put a low cut on it, and 144, I think, yes, 144 is the option in the X32. I want to make sure that my EQ is on. I'm gonna wait for tomorrow to hear that before I do any kind of EQ. Acoustic guitar, I'm gonna go to 87 on the low cut, 87. Why 87, you may ask? Because this is the E note, which is the lowest note on a standard tune guitar. So I'm gonna ask the musician tomorrow if they are tuned to standard pitch. If they are, I'm gonna leave my low cut there, so that way the lowest E string on the guitar will ring and start to fade the harmonic, the lower harmonic out. But other than that, yeah, I just change it maybe a notch or two depending on the tuning of the band. But I mean, at that point, it's just because I know it's that. You don't have to do that. If you want to go to 100 or 120, it's just fine. I also want to do a eye cut just to get rid of the really like sizzling sound of a pickup. Around 10K is usually fine. If that guitar is really dull with old string, I'm just gonna turn it off. If it has brand new string with a really hard pick, guitar pick, I'm just gonna adjust the high cut depending on what I feel tomorrow. What matter is how it sounds in the room. So I'm doing here everything in prediction because I'm used to do that kind of stuff and I'm getting ready, but everything will be dependent of how it sounds in the PA tomorrow. Vince vocal, I'm gonna go to 144, and I know him that he's gonna bring he's not gonna bring, I'm gonna bring a 935. So I know 935 around 375, I got something there usually, and around 3K depending on the singer. For him, that's about it. I will see tomorrow. I'm gonna start with just 3 dB, but that should be good. Around 350, I know 6 dB for sure, with a Q of 1, not 10, 1, with a Q of 1. And his acoustic guitar, I know it's not really bright, so I can just go 87 and that's it, and I know it's gonna sound good that way. His electric guitar, I'm just gonna put a low cut at 87 just in case. And the kick, no low cut at all, because it's a sample and it's already EQ'd to sound good. I'm just gonna wait and hear how it sounds before taking any decision. Moving on to the vocal compressor, I'm gonna go to FX5. I love 1176 on vocal, so let's go with that. So my first insert point will be channel 1 and channel 3. Oh, this is a stereo one. I need to have the dual. And I'm going to activate the insert there. We're going to take a look at that. I like to have fast attack and faster release by default. Sometimes it changes depending on the source. 24, 23, that's a good place to start. We're going to check on this one. Just going to do the attack. The 5 and 7. We're going to wait and hear how it sounds before doing anything else. Now move on to the fun part, the reverb and delay. One of my favorite thing in the X32 is the blue plate reverb. They call it plate reverb. It's the blue plate. It's basically the lexicon. So I like this one. The preset is a good place to start. I like also a room. I never know which one to choose, so maybe the room reverb. Okay, let's go with the room. That will be for the guitar. Stereo delay, that will be for the vocal, and I'm gonna do a offset delay. So let's go 1 parameter at a time. So time will be tap tempo tomorrow, depending on the song. Offset, I'm gonna go as far as I can, 100 millisecond. Low, I'm gonna put the low cut feed to around 250, and I'm gonna do a offset. That means that my left delay will be different from my right delay. Let's go 24 and 20, and we're gonna trim the top down on both around 4.5K. That's good. Low cut feed, okay, low cut, high cut on the delay. Let's go to around again 4.5, 250 on the low cut. This is how I usually start with the delay. We'll see how it goes. I don't really use that much of a chorus, but because I only have 2 guitar and a bass drum tomorrow, I may use chorus to make things a little wider. Depending on the setup. I don't know if the lead singer is bringing a pedal board with effect on it. If she does, I'm not gonna put any. If she doesn't, I'm just gonna go as crazy as I can without being tell that they feel it. Before I move on, I want to say I've set my gain and my threshold on my channels. I always try to have around minus 18 dB at the minimum level of the performer. So that means a vocalist who just go, you know, they have their range. They go from low to high in volume, but they always, most of the time, in the same range. I try to have the lowest point around minus 18 and keep it under control to not clipping. If it goes really high all the time, I'm just gonna bring the gain down a little bit because I wanna keep it in the ballpark between 18 and minus 12. That way, if I set my compressor to minus 18, as soon as the singer go up higher than minus 18, the compressor start to kick in and just bring it, you know, leveling it out. So if I set my gain correctly, the compressor, the interaction with the compressor and the gain will ride my show smoothly. Everything will be balanced, you know. I don't want to have a lot of dynamic in volume. I basically use my compressor to ride every single input to have them right at the right spot. Once I got that right, I'm just gonna raise the fader until I get the desired volume in the room, and that's about it. I'm not gonna do anything to my master yet. I know the speaker that I have sound really good outside with no EQ. Maybe a little bit of mid-range that need to be cut down, but I don't know where I will be tomorrow. Will there be a wall next to me? I know. And will I be in the free field? Will my speaker be freestanding? And this is as best as they can sound because they have nothing to reflect sound on bouncing it back around. We'll see. I don't know where I'm going. I'm gonna start to set my monitor. I'm not gonna send anything in the monitor. I'm just gonna name them. I'm gonna go to my bus. I'm gonna call this Vero. I'm gonna put it in white because I said white. Because I'd like to have my lead singer in white and my friend Vince, mono monitor, of course. on a really small stage in the Duo. Mono monitor is usually fine. I'm gonna set my bus master to 0 dB, and I'm not gonna send anything in there. I'm not gonna EQ anything because, again, it will be dependent of the environment that I will be in. If we are outside with nothing to send reflection back, outside shows sound good most of the time. I'm gonna name my effects in. So this one is my playroom delay. I'm gonna call this 1980s because chorus is so 1980s. Because this is a really simple gig, I'm not gonna set up any matrices, anything. The stock routing of the console is just fine. This is basically my show, or at least my starting point. I'm gonna save that to my USB stick. I'm gonna put it in the console. It will be 24-hour for me. It will be a couple seconds for you. See you guys at the gig. Bon appétit. It's 7:30. Just arrived at a lovely motel. Watch the view, guys. It's crazy. Just arrived at the gig. Let's unload the truck and do this thing. Finish up the setup of the PA. I'm gonna give you a tour of what we got here. We end up with the 935 on every vocal. The Radial Pro DI, I said GDI when I set up, but it's actually the Pro monitor. Same thing that I show you in the truck. We got the PA QSC subs with the JBL. It's the 612 on top. Pretty much everything at new, no limiter, and the sub mode is currently on. I'm running the K sub in deep mode. For you guitar fan today, we have a Hummingbird and a 1972 335 SPD1 that I was talking about, and of course my friend bring is HX Stomp. All that into the Pro D2, and that's it. I didn't show you the rack, guys. We have the X32 small rotor on top and a G4 in-ear, and that's it. All powered by a Furman.
Allez, je laisse tellement là. Mon petit Lord. Toi. Mon petit Lord.
Comment ça
Ben, je peux-tu commander ton soundcheck dans ta caméra? So Lordy is full intimidating. He's a bad boy.
C'est moi qui ai dit ça.
C'est vrai, fait chier.
Now that we are in the shadow, I can show you guys what I did on the iPad for the sound check. I didn't do much, honestly. On the vocal, gain didn't change, gate didn't change, EQ, we're not using that compressor, we're using the 1176. I did EQ my vocal, we're using the 935 like I said. Send only her vocal in the monitor, nothing else changed there, no preset. Acoustic guitar, gate didn't change. EQ, I did give it just a little of bottom because there is no bass on stage. It's only 2 acoustic guitar. Send in the monitor, that's it. EQ wise, vocal, I didn't change anything. Acoustic is not there, so that's not used. Electric guitar, I don't know why. I need to ask my friend Vince. His preset is really dark, so I gave it just a little bump. Maybe he has a eye cut on his setup, so I'm gonna ask him what's up with that. Kick, just took out a little of 160-ish, 148. Just took that out a little bit to make it sound good. I played around with the preamp, changed the gain to 37 instead of, I think, 30. I'm running my fader really high and my main volume is really low. Now stand by, we wait an hour and a half and it's gonna be showtime.
Cette vie ne me ressemble pas, la peur est plane comme la brume. Dehors un déluge de printemps, je reste enfermée. Notre amour, comme une vieille maison en flammes, qu'on regarde brûler. Notre amour, comme une chapelle déserte où l'on ne prie même plus. Quand je suis partie pour Moncton, tu m'as dit de pas y aller. Tu savais déjà que je reviendrais pas. Tu savais déjà que je reviendrais pas. Non, tu savais déjà que je reviendrais pas. Merci beaucoup, je m'appelle Véronique Pilote. Oui, je vous présente Vincent Gendron aux guitares. Merci beaucoup d'avoir été là.
It's done. The first show is done with this truck. It was fun. Let's go back home. If you guys like that video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Until the next one, please take care of yourself. And I see you all later.
C'est là qu'on regarde toute la caméra puis qu'on dit bye! Escale!